Akwa Ibom State gripped with apprehension following the announcement of monkeypox outbreak. Oil price stabilized today after a 2% slide on Friday as the number of rigs drilling for new oil in the United States dipped. Turkey suspends all visa service for Americans in the U.S., which had earlier imposed a temporary ban on its issuance on non-immigrants. Castle 4 Tigers fullback Zach Adamska has been provisionally suspended after testing positive for cocaine. Good and welcome to news on the African Broadcasting Network. I'm Okium Tefekuji about the news in full. Residents of Akwa Ibom State are gripped with apprehension following the government's announcement of the outbreak of the dreaded monkeypox disease in the state. This announcement makes it the third state with the outbreak in the Niger Delta region after the reports in Bayelsa and Rivers State. The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, says Nigerians should disregard the report that the outbreak of monkeypox in some parts of the country resulted from the alleged free medical care by the government in the affected areas, noting that the federal government has not conducted any free medical service or care in either Bayelsa or Rivers State, as alleged in the fake report being circulated. Lai Mohammed says it is suspected that someone may have contracted it by eating monkey meat, thus triggering the current outbreak, adding that all effort is being geared to curtail the spread of the disease. Meanwhile, in Oyo, Commissioner for Health, Dr. Dominic Ikuyong, who confirmed the case of the disease, says that the victim had been isolated and that 2 other suspected cases were being monitored by the medical personnel. Dr. Dominic Ukpong said the viral ailment is borne by wild animals, especially monkeys, and can be contacted through bodily contact with infected persons, and warned residents of Uyu to stop eating bush meat and to take precautionary measures by imbibing personal hygiene, such as hand washing, avoiding indiscriminate handshake and physical contacts. The Nigerian army says some Boko Haram terrorists were ambushed while smuggling food into the Sambisa forest area, during which 2 of them were shot dead. The Deputy Director, Army Public Relations and 7th Division spokesman, Lieutenant Colonel Kingsley Samuel, who confirmed the development, says the terrorists were ambushed by the mobile strike teams of Operation Lafia Dawn, the military operation against the insurgents in the northeast. The terrorists attempted to smuggle the foodstuff into the Sambisa forest through Mayanti village in the Bama local government area of Borno State, and the army says they recovered 2 bags of maize from the dead terrorists, while others fled with gunshot injuries. Samuel said their resolve to eliminate the remnants of the Boko Haram terrorists yielded another result when troops successfully ambushed unsuspecting terrorists attempting to cross into Sambisa forest. Business news. Oil price stabilized today after a 2% slide on Friday as the number of rigs drilling for new oil in the United States dipped, and on expectations that Saudi Arabia would continue to restrain its output to support the market. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures were trading at $49.38 per barrel at 0702 GMT, up 9 cents from their last close. Brent crude futures were flat from their last close at $55.62 a barrel. Trading activity was low on Monday due to the Columbus Day holiday in the United States, although markets there are open. Oil tumbled by 2% on Friday, with WTI dipping back below $50 per barrel as concerns of overproduction resurfaced. The U.S. rig count fell by 2 to 748 last week, General Electric's coal Baker Hughes energy service firm said on Friday. The investors raised combined futures and options position in WTI on the NYMEX and ICE markets by 3,311 contracts to 288,766 in the week to October the 3rd, its highest since mid-August, the data showed. Gold price climbed to their strongest level in more than a week today as renewed concerns over North Korea's nuclear ambitions stoked safe haven demand for the previous metal and weighed on the dollar. Spot gold was up 0.4% at $1,379.99 an ounce by 0705 GMT after earlier touching $1,384.97, its highest level since September the 29th. U.S. gold futures for December delivery gained 0.6% to $1,382.40 per ounce. The dollar held steady against the yuan, having retreated from 12-week highs set last week due to renewed focus on geopolitical risks amid concerns that North Korea may be preparing another missile test. In other metals, silver was last up 0.7% at $16.90 an ounce, having touched a nearly 2-week high of $16.99 earlier. Platinum and palladium were both up 0.5% at $917.50 and $924.65 an ounce respectively. Now, stories from other African countries. Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir has extended a unilateral ceasefire in Darfur, Blue Nile and South Kordofan states for 2 months. The Sudanese leader's decision came days after the Trump administration lifted trade embargo on his country. The decision extends the unilateral ceasefire to December the 31st, adding to SUNA President Bashir has issued the decision to show that his government is keen to make peace in Sudan. Since June 2016, Bashir has declared several ceasefires in the 3 regions. Fighting between the Sudanese army and rebels in the South Kordofan and Blue Nile regions broke out in 2011. Conflict erupted in Darfur in 2003 when armed groups took up arms against the Khartoum government. The Speaker of Ethiopia's lower house of parliament, Abdullah Gemidal, has announced his resignation without giving any reason. Abdullah Gemidal says he submitted a letter of resignation to the House of People's Representatives and the concerned body to quit his job as a Speaker of the House, adding that he would disclose the precise reason for his departure once his resignation is accepted. Abdullah says he would stay in parliament as a member of the Oromo People's Democratic Organization, which he helped fund. The OPDO is one of the 4 ethnically based parties that comprise the ruling Ethiopian People's Revolutionary and Democratic Front coalition, which together with its allies controls all seats in Ethiopia's parliament. Oromia was rocked by anti-government protests that started in late 2015 and soon spread to neighboring regions, prompting the government to declare a nationwide state of emergency that was repealed in August. Last month, clashes broke out along the border between Oromia and neighboring Somali region, killing hundreds and displacing at least 50,000 people. Abdullah Gemidal was the Speaker of the House of People's Representatives from 2010 and was previously Army Chief of Staff and President of the country's most populous region, Oromia. White House has tied any new deal on young undocumented immigrants to a clampdown on illegal immigration. This and more after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. White House has tied any new deal on young undocumented immigrants who were people brought to U.S. legally as children and as such face deportation to a clampdown on illegal immigration, including a border wall with Mexico. U.S. President Donald Trump is asking for funding for the wall, speedier deportations, and the hiring of thousands of new immigration officers. Last month, he ended the Obama-era Dreamer program, which had protected some 690,000 immigrants and leading Democrats in Congress have rejected the latest proposals by accusing President Trump of backtracking on a commitment not to include the border wall in negotiations over the status of young immigrants who are mostly from Mexico and other Latin American countries. The Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, set up in 2012 under President Barack Obama, is due to expire in March, casting doubt on the future of those protected. Trump wrote in a letter to Congress accompanying the list that the findings outline reforms must be included as part of any legislation addressing the status of deferred action for childhood arrivals recipients. His Legislative Affairs Director, Mark Short, says the priorities were essential to mitigate the legal and economic consequences of any grant of status to DACA recipients. Last month, Mr. Trump told Congress, which is dominated by his Republican Party, it had 6 months to agree new legislation to help the dreamers. The U.S. leader insisted Mexico itself should pay, but the authorities there have rejected the ideal. Meanwhile, a prototype was erected near San Diego, California last week. Turkey suspends all visa service for Americans in the U.S., which had earlier imposed a temporary ban on the issuance of non-immigrant visas as its Turkey-based diplomatic facilities. American Embassy in Ankara says non-immigrant visa service by U.S. diplomatic mission in Turkey were being frozen as Washington was reassessing Turkey's commitment to the security of its diplomats. Ankara imposed the restriction on Sunday, saying it also applied to visas issued online and at the border, as the suspension of the visa service had been driven by recent events. The effect came after Turkish authorities ordered the arrest of an employee with the embassy earlier in the week, accusing him of bearing links with the followership of U.S.-based cleric Fethullah Gulen, who is Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's ally turned enemy, and was accused of masterminding a failed July 2016 coup against the Turkish state. Gulen also rejected Ankara's accusation of subversion, and Washington has so far resisted efforts to hand him over. The Turkish Justice Minister says on Monday that the judiciary had made the decision and that the government could not interfere. The American embassy's staffer has been formally charged with espionage and seeking to overthrow the government. The mission on Thursday says it was deeply disturbed over the arrest and rejected the allegations against the employee as wholly without merit. Back in May, U.S. prosecutors charged a dozen Turkish security and police officers with assault after an attack on anti-Erdogan protesters in Washington during the Turkish leader's visit to the U.S. Capitol. Erdogan reacted in early September by calling the charges against security personnel scandalous. North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un has defended Pyongyang's nuclear program as a powerful deterrent against U.S. threats, playing down the effect of the Washington-backed UN sanctions slapped on his country over its military action. At a meeting of the Central Committee of the ruling Workers' Party, Kim addressed the complicated international situation, saying, North Korea's nuclear work guarantees its sovereignty. Kim also says that North Korea's nuclear weapons were a powerful deterrent, firmly safeguarding the peace and security in the Korean Peninsula and Northeast Asia, making a reference to the protracted nuclear threats of the U.S. imperialists. The North Korean leader further emphasized the country's national policy of Byung-jin, meaning the parallel development of nuclear weapons and the economy, saying the situation proves this agenda is absolutely right. The United Nations significantly reached up its economic sanctions against North Korea after the country carried out its sixth and biggest nuclear test on September the 3rd. Well, Kim says the national economy has grown this year despite the escalating sanctions. During the meeting, Kim also announced that his sister, Kim Jong-un, was made an alternative member of the Politburo, the top decision-making body over which he presides. The 28-year-old has become a replacement for Kim Jong-un's aunt, Kim Jong-oi, who had been a key decision-maker when former leader Kim Jong-il was alive. Pyongyang, however, says it will continue and develop the military programs as a deterrent in the face of U.S. hostility and military building up on the Korean peninsula. The North has repeatedly called on its neighbors to end their close military ties with Washington. Speaking hours after U.S. President Donald Trump says decades of diplomatic negotiations with North Korea had failed to resolve the Korean crisis, suggesting that war was the only option against Pyongyang. Trump has repeatedly threatened to destroy North Korea if Washington deemed it necessary. And that's sport news. Power Dynamo's striker Alex Gonga's family home in ABN Main in Kitwe has been attacked by thugs following Zambia's 1-0 defeat to Nigeria in the 2018 World Cup qualifier match in Uyu on Saturday. A Copperbelt Province Police Commissioner Charity Katanga says a group of people emerged from a white Toyota Land Cruiser ACC 5492 and maliciously damaged two roofing sheets with stones. Katanga says the group accused Gonga of missing scoring chances that crushed Zambia's hope of qualifying to the 2018 World Cup in Russia. She said police had launched a manhunt and a case of malicious damage to property has been opened. Gonga's mother, Charity, says that she feared for her life when she heard another person threaten to destroy the house completely. Nigeria became the first African team to qualify for the global showpiece courtesy of Alex Iwobi's second half strike at the Godswill Akwa Ibom Stadium in Uyu on Saturday. Castleford Tigers fullback Zach Adalkal has been provisionally suspended after testing positive for cocaine and will not be included in England's squad for the World Cup and could be suspended for 2 years as a result. The 25-year-old was omitted from the Tigers squad for the grand final loss to Leeds Reynolds on Saturday. Adalkal's failed test came after a Super 8 game against Leeds, his former club, on 8th of September. In a statement on the club website, Adalkal has apologized to his teammates, staffs and fans for his enormous error of judgment. Adalkal was one of 3 nominees for Super League's Man of Steel award, having scored 13 tries in 30 games as Tigers won the league leaders sheet for the first time and was expected to be named in the England squad for World Cup in Australia. Adalkal joined Castleford on an initial loan deal for 2017 that was later made permanent after a stint in Australia with Penrith Panthers. Speaking after Saturday's 24-6 defeat by Leeds at Old Trafford, head coach Del Powell said he still thought they had a team out that could have won the game if they had played anywhere near their potential. Lewis Hamilton feels Mercedes' reliability gives him the platform to use his speed to beat Sebastian Vettel and Ferrari, which he accepts is likely to be the deciding factor in the 2017 Formula One World Championship. The Mercedes driver stretched his advantage to 59 points in the championship standing thanks to victory at the Japanese Grand Prix, coupled with Vettel's retirement due to a broken spark plug on his Ferrari. After pouring credit on his Mercedes team for its reliability and procedural changes which he felt were hampering car performance during recent races, Hamilton says the German manufacturer's impressive record of selling cars to the Czech flag has been a foundation to its Formula One domination in the V6 hybrid engine era. That's it on our news for today, but before we go, a quick look at the major stories that made the headlines. Akwa Ibom State gripped with apprehension following the announcement of monkeypox outbreak. Oil price stabilized today after a 2% slide on Friday as the number of Greeks drilling for new oil in the United States dipped. Turkey suspends all visa service for Americans in the U.S., which had earlier imposed a temporary ban on its issuance on non-immigrants. Castle Fort Tigers fullback Zach Adamska has been provisionally suspended after testing positive for cocaine. Thanks for watching. You can join us on our social media platform www.abnchannel.net and follow us on Twitter at ABN Channel. Like us on Facebook at ABN TV. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel, African Broadcasting Network. I'm Okiem Tefekuji. Thanks for watching.